Hello everyone, it's Diane and I have a couple of journals to show you. It will take, I can only do one per video, so I'll do two videos to show these two journals that I made using Graphic 45 Renaissance Fair paper. It's the first Graphic 45 paper I ever purchased, first time I ever heard of them. I was online looking for a bind-it-all and I saw this paper and I had to have it. It's the kind of art that I love. And I've been hoarding it because I didn't know what to do with it. And so finally I've used it and I split it into two junk journals. And I just want to show you some of the, well, show you the stamps that I used in it. First of all, Michael's used to carry a line of Anna Griffin stamps. And so every time I went to Michael's, I would buy one of her stamps. So I have a few. So these are the ones I used in this book. I thought they matched this Renaissance Fair paper really nicely. And then I also used some from Stampington, which I think these are the ones from Stampington, the only ones. This is called Susanna, and this one is Woman in Stone. So these are Stampington and Company. And then this one is by Lynn Perella from AC Ducey, which is now sold by Stampington, but at the time that I bought it, AC Ducey was its own company, so I've had this stamp for many years. This one I picked up on clearance at one of the craft stores, and I'm not sure if it is Da Vinci, but it sure looks like a Da Vinci piece of art, and it's by Inka Dinka Do from the Illuminata collection. And there's a script stamp too, a small script stamp similar to this part right here that's also from that collection, and I don't have that right here with me. So anyway, I got ink all over her when I did this project and it won't come off, but you know, I can still use the stamp. This one, I don't know where it came from. It's from Anita's, and I don't know where I bought it, probably at Michael's, and I've had it for many years. This is from a Stampin' Up! Set of 3 stamps, and I like this one, of course, because it has Mona Lisa, and it says, "You make me smile," and then this, I'm not sure where I got that, but I've had this one for a long time. And then I use this, which I just purchased from Michael's. It's a recollection set of borders and corners and flourishes. So I used some of those. And then I used this stencil, Tim Holtz stencil, to age the paper with Distress ink. I also used images from some of these art books that I've collected over the years. This is my pre-Raphaelite book, and it's in very bad shape. It's falling apart, but I used some of these images. The Renaissance Fair paper doesn't feature just Renaissance art. There are some pre-Raphaelite artists featured on that paper, so that's why I went ahead and used some of that. This is James Mcneill Whistler. I used several of his paintings. Vermeer. This book has some pages, see if I can find them quickly, I should have marked them. It has some pages that have the smaller images, like close-up detail, like that page. So I could cut those and use them as embellishments, and those I could use as journaling cards. And this is another pre-Raphaelite book, and Da Vinci, and Michelangelo. These are a bit awkward to put on my printer. Now, I tried to find out about copyright laws concerning these. I don't want to do anything illegal, but I couldn't find anything specific about these pieces of art. But what I saw, and please, if anyone knows differently, tell me, what I saw said that anything published prior to 1923 is in public domain, and all of these pieces of art were published before that. So if anybody knows anything differently, please tell me. So these are the books that I made with the Renaissance Fair collection, and I'm going to start with this one because it's a little bit smaller. I think it's 8 by 5. Let's see, 5.5, 8.5 by 5.5. And I used this pinkish peachy book cover with a little gold design. This is what the front looked like. And then I decoupaged a frame from the Renaissance Faire collection onto it, and this little decorator element. And I used Stampin' Up! Paper on the spine, and I rubbed some Distress ink on it to age it a little bit. Put this pretty trim on it. It has 3 signatures stitched in, and this seam binding is just tied around it. It's just decorative. It doesn't hold anything in. And the inside, what do you call this? End papers are this sheet that I cut from DCWV Once Upon a Time stack. So here's one of the images from one of my books, and this is the Graphic 45 paper back here. I just love the rich colors of this paper. There's a little bit of trim here. There's lots of journaling space, even though there are lots of elements that you can't journal on. I included large sheets for journaling, and there are lots of pages that you can journal on. So here's one that's just folded up and tucked in there. You can journal on that. And this is a glassine bag from Denise's A Tattered Dream shop, and this trim, this fiber trim, is also from her shop. I just received an order from her. This is a tag I made with my Cricut, and there are several of these collages in this book, 2 in each signature. So there's a strip of seam binding, a piece of coffee dyed cheesecloth, and a little punch-out element from the collection. There's my Mona Lisa stamp. This is a pocket I made with a scrap of the paper. It's got a magnet to hold it closed. This is just glued on in this trim. And then there's a little tag in there for journaling. I used some Inca gold around the edges of some of the papers and some of the decorative elements. There's some of this lace sewn to the tops of some of the pages. And there are, each signature has a library pocket that has these stamped images on it. And there's a coffee dyed library card. Each of the pockets looks different though. There's a gold trimmed element, and this is for journaling. Some Inca gold on this page. And these little punch outs decorate the ends of the tabs. This opens up for journaling. And then there's this little sack with a tag. And this is one that I used the stencil on. This is vintage ledger paper. Any ledger paper in these books is vintage. This one has a couple of the elements on the page and then a little coffee dyed piece for journaling. And this is the second signature. This is where the seam binding is wrapped through. These are cards from the collection, and I put some cardstock on the back for journaling. This has some trim on it, and I glued this little piece on the pocket. Here's the second library pocket. There's Inca gold around the edge of this. This is another a glassine envelope from Denise's shop, and there's a couple elements in there. I love this image. And this is a piece of a canvas trim, but it's stitched onto some paper to form the pocket. The Mona Lisa from the collection and a tag. This one is embossed cardstock that I rubbed some blue ink on. And there's gold around this. A scrap of the DCWV paper that I used for the end papers. And I made this tag with my Cricut and glued an image onto it. This is a frame from the collection, and I made this little tag to put inside. And it's decorated with a punch out and a piece of lace applique. This opens up. Third signature, there's the other piece of seam binding, this trim here. This is from the James Mcneill Whistler book, as is this picture. He did a lot of paintings. He didn't just do Whistler's mother. He did a lot of paintings where he explored white. And I know this one is called Symphony in White. I knew one of them was. It says it right down here, Symphony in White, and there's another girl on the other side of this picture, but I cut her off and she's in the book. But this one is called Girl in White. And the third library pocket. This is a stamp. I stamped it on coffee dyed paper and then cut it out and glued it on. There's gold around that, and here is another one of the Girls in White that Whistler did. This is also a tag that pulls out. And this is my favorite page. This picture, I cannot remember who painted it, but it's called Guinevere. And I cut her out and glued her on as a pocket. So it has this little card that tucks in. And then this was the other side of the painting. It's her bedclothes, bed curtains, dressing table, and a set of tags that are fastened together with that pretty brad, and you can journal on the backs. I just love the way they look against that beautiful green. And then this, I love this page also, has 4 little pockets cut from scraps, and I made these little tags with my Cricut. And there's punch out designs glued to the pockets. Here's a tag again with some of that fiber from Denise. Tucks behind there. A slanted pocket with some trim and a piece of card for writing and another tag. Here's the other Girl in White that was cut off from the other part of the picture. And this painting is called the Lady of Shalott. And then a piece of the lace applique. So that's the first book, and I'll be back with another video of the second book.